All right, good morning. So you'll need a block and a strap for today's practice, or a length of cloth and a towel as a substitute. And we'll start on the mat today with the block at the base of the ribs. So the lowest rib on the back body. I recommend the lowest height on the block, or if you had a roll-up, you could certainly use a roll-up as an alternative. Plant your feet about hip-width apart. Slide the block at the lowest rib behind your back, and then walk down onto the forearms. So you start to feel the weight of the upper back, the region of the rib cage and the heart starts to connect with the prop and release in the back body. Take a few breaths here, allowing the belly to be nice and soft. Keep the feet flat on the mat. And then as you're ready, walk your forearms a little closer to the hips, adding a little more back bend, and continue that journey until your head reaches the floor. Now, some bodies might feel more support by stacking the palms behind the head in a nice supported variation, elbows are wide. Take a few more breaths here in the belly, and then as you're able, you have the option to extend the legs long, wiggling out the feet, freeing up the hips, or taking reclined butterfly. Feet come to touch and knees open like bookends. We want the knees to be happy, the low back to be happy, and the head needs to be supported. Take your first few breaths here. And start to envision the region of your rib cage as the heart center. There's the front where the breastplate lay, the right and the left where the ribs occupy space, the shoulder blades in the back body, and the space between the shoulder blades, which I'll call the root of the heart. So really vision and imagine this entire upper body region as the region of the heart today. Anahata chakra center, the seat of our emotional well-being, more specifically where opposites collide and coalesce. Think good, bad, light, dark, masculine, feminine, internal, external. The heart center energetically allows all of those supposed opposites to collide and coalesce. Take a few more breaths here. And maintaining your shape, shift your awareness down to the pelvic bowl, the hips on the right and the left, the pubic bone at the front, and the back ridge of the hips in the mat side of your body. Right, this entire region of the pelvic bowl is the hip center today. Svanistana chakra. This is the seat of our raw emotional well-being, the experience of the emotions, be them heavy and dense or light and effervescent, be it emotion that lingers or emotion that is transient. So we're really working with the polarities of the emotional body here. The raw emotions that sit deep in the hips, and the combination of experiences, the coalescing of these experiences that sit in the heart. Take 3 more breaths here. And then take the biggest inhale of the moment, hold on full, and then sip, sip, sip in more energy and light, and sigh it out. Inhale all the way to full. Hold on full. Sip, sip, sip in more air and space, and sigh it out. And do that once more, please. Staying on the block, you'll shift back onto the feet. The knees may come to touch. And then use the hands to lift the head parallel to the heart. So we're leaning into the block. Feet are on the mat, hip width apart. And the head is parallel with the heart and the pelvis. Interlacing the fingers behind the base of the head and the neck. The elbows stay wide here. Take a big breath in. And then an exhale, lift the heart a little higher off the block. Pause here for your next inhale. And then exhale, maintain the hands to head as you lean all the way back to the floor. Stay for your next inhale. As you exhale, navel to spine, lift the head a little higher off the block. Stay for the exhale. Elbows are wide. Breathe in. Exhale, lower the head to the earth. Pause here. Breathe in. Exhale, navel to spine, lift the head to the level of the heart. Pause here, breathe in, lift a little higher. Exhale, release the head to the mat. Pause here, we've got one more round. Breathe in. Exhale, navel to spine, lift the head to the level of the heart. Pause here. Take an inhale, lift a little higher, and stay for the exhale. Release the hands reaching towards the knees. Right and left hand facing the body across the left side thigh. And you'll take pulses so the right arm will reach a little further in alignment with the left. For 1, retract the shoulder. Reach through the right, keep breathing. Retract the shoulder. Reach through the right, pulsing here. That's 3, 2 more. Good. Slide the hands over to the right. Palms face the body. Reach as far as you can with the right hand. And then 5 pulses. Left hand reaches to the level of the right. Retract the left shoulder. Reach through the left and retract. That's 2, 3, 4. Just building a little internal heat. And 5. And release. Both palms face the thighs. Head is still parallel with the heart. Press the back body into the block and lift the legs parallel to the earth. Now, if the belly's tender, you can cross at the ankles and hug the thighs together as the alternative. And we take 5 pulses. Reach fingertips to toes for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Feet hit the mat. You can take the hands to the thighs to roll up to seated. Drop the knees to the left. So the left foot hits the right thigh. The right foot's behind you. Some bodies feel better pointing the toes. For other bodies, flexing the feet. And you'll twist across the left hip now. Take your first few breaths up right here. Left palm hits the mat behind you. Right arm sweeps up and over. Just lay the arm across the crown of the head. Bring some attention back to the pelvis. And imagine cat-cow. Tuck the tail feathers underneath you. The spine rounds. We look to the navel. Lift the tail feathers behind us. The belly will stretch. The heart will open. Look back just a smidgen. Good. And then keep this cat-cow movement in the pelvis. And notice that there's a relationship. When the pelvis moves, the heart responds. And when the heart moves, the pelvis responds. So these emotional anchors, these energetic anchors in the body between the second and the fourth chakras, mirror the relationship of the physical body between the hips and the heart center. Take a few more of these pulses. And then allow your pelvis to be heavy. It will drop into what feels like your natural alignment. Right hand meets parallel to the mat on the left. And we start to walk down onto the forearms. Now your block is here. You have the option of flip the block so that the forehead hits something solid. Now in this space, inhale, be attentive to the heart. Exhale, become attentive to the hips. Inhale, stay in the hips. And then exhale, become attentive to the heart. Reciprocal breathing. Inhale, heart. Exhale, hips. Stay in the hips, breathe in. And move to the heart, breathe out. Maintain this breath. We're here for 1 minute. Finish your next exhale, slowly roll up to seated. Walk your feet to touch, Baddha Konasana. Find some length in the spine, feet come to touch, knees open like bookends. You might interlace the fingers, first 2 fingers around the big toe mounds, and just sit up nice and tall. Working with the neck now, drop the head to one shoulder. Breathe. Lift the chin parallel to the earth. Drop the ear to the opposite shoulder and breathe. Draw the chin parallel to the earth. Tuck the chin towards the collarbone. Pull the root of the heart behind you, shoulder blades spread. From this position, bend at the elbows, hinging from the hips as we forward fold. Keep puffing up and out through the root of the heart. Let the hips be heavy. And return to the reciprocal breath. Inhale, attentive to the heart. Exhale, attentive to the hips. Stay in the hips, breathe in. And exhale, shift to the heart. Reciprocal breathing. Inhale, attentive to the heart. Exhale, attentive to the hips. Stay in the hips to breathe in. And move to the heart to breathe out. We're here for 1 minute. Finish your next full inhale and exhale, and then roll back to seated. We'll take our twist to the opposite side. Step your feet as wide as the sticky mat. This time, knees drop over to the right, and we take a gentle twist upright around the right hip. Right hand stays on the sticky mat. Left arm draws up and over the crown of the head. Just lay on the head. And then bring your attention back down to your hips and your pelvis. Cat-cow in the pelvis. We tuck the tail feathers underneath us. This pulls the heart back and spreads the shoulder blades. Roll through the pelvis so that the heart presses forward. Shoulders roll down the spine. And there's a little lift. Maintain the breath here. Doesn't matter which way the breath is moving. Just inhale one direction and exhale into the opposite direction. Noticing that physical commitment to the pelvis and the heart moving in tandem, which mirrors the emotional body and the energetic commitment of the second and the fourth chakra centers. Take a few more pulses here. Coming to what feels like you're neutral in the hips. Left arm drops to the earth, meeting the right at the back of your sticky mat. Take a few breaths here, and then as you're able, if you're able, start to walk down onto the forearms. Take your block at any height to balance the forehead, relieving the muscles in the neck. Draw your attention to the heart as you breathe in, reciprocal breathing. Exhale, shift the focus to the hips. Stay for the inhale in the hips, and shift the focus to the heart as you exhale. Inhale into the heart. Exhale into the hips. Inhale in the hips. And exhale into the heart. We're here for 1 minute. Finishing your next inhale and exhale, we'll meet seated in Baddha Konasana once again. Feet come to touch, knees open like bookends. Option to take hands to yogi toe lock or round the ankles. Draw the root of the heart behind you, shoulder blades spread wide, and then tuck the chin down onto the collarbone. Hinging from the hips, we keep puffing up in the root of the heart as we bow and hinge from the hip spaces. Reciprocal breathing. Inhale into the heart. Exhale into your hips. Inhale throughout the hips. And exhale into the heart. We're here for 1 minute. finish your next inhale and exhale, roll to seated. And extend the feet wide, Uttanasana Konasana. Traditionally, we start with the knees as wide as the sticky mat. It's important to flex the feet, and if the hamstrings are tight, bend the knees so that the heels are rooted on the ground and the knees can be floating. You can face any direction on the sticky mat. Drawing one hand to the solar plexus at the front of the body, that's the territory between the hips and the heart. And then back of the hands, slide your hand across the back body so that the hands mirror each other in the depth of the solar plexus. So this is the seat of the internal furnace, right? All the core work that we do, all the stabilizing that we do, right? A lot of the pranayama, the breathing exercises that we do are meant to stimulate this area and add some heat. And what the heat does is it opens up the muscles, certainly. It creates some physical freedom. But today I want us to think about the emotional body and the energetics of the body. That this internal furnace can soften the root of the heart. The internal furnace can help the heart expand in all directions. And the inverse for the hips is also true. The heat, this internal furnace, can help to soften the tops of the hips, melting any consternation so that the hips can open up in all directions. So less of a physical activity. I'd like us to imagine that this heat, this internal furnace, this ever-present hearth and fire that sits in the middle of our body is here to connect the energetic spaces of the second chakra, Svanistana, in the hips, and the fourth chakra, Anahata, in the heart. Take a few breaths here. You might conceptualize a golden orb of energy or a raging fire itself. Just bridging that gap between the lower body, the energetics of the emotions that sit in the hips, and the upper body, the energetics that sit in the root of the heart. Releasing the hands, maintaining that attentiveness to the orb of energy or the fire here. Look over the left leg. Right arm reaches for the pinky toe side. Come back to neutral. We'll switch. Left hand reaches across the right pinky toe. And we'll switch. Adding a breath, we inhale as we're upright. Exhale, right reaches to left pinky toe. Inhale upright, and we switch. Exhale, left arm to left pinky toe. Move really slowly. Take your whole inhale to travel upright, your whole exhale to twist and reach. And as you're working, keep both sits bones rooted to the earth. So this heat here, this energetic space, melts any lifting in the hips. We give the hips permission to ground and release. And inverse is also true. This heat here, deep in the torso, melts any gripping in the heart, giving the heart freedom to lift and be buoyant. Now, if you want to travel more quickly, you can do that. Inhale to sit, exhale to twist and tap. We're already more than halfway there. Maintain your rhythm. One more each direction, please. And then we'll draw the hands to the tops of the shoulders. You can leave the legs as they are, or Sukhasana legs, that's my preference, crisscrossing at the ankles. Again, feeling a balance across the pelvis, letting the pelvis drop and root into the earth. A buoyancy and a lifting through the heart. Lift the elbows a little higher than the armpits, and then pull the elbows towards each other. So you'll feel the armpits hollow out. You'll feel the shoulder blades spread wide. So we're attentive to the back of our body for a few breaths. Notice if there's the habit of pitching the pelvis forward. I'm guilty of that. So I bring my attention down to the sits bones, and I think I root evenly right to left. What also naturally occurs is there's more space between the top rim of the hips and the lowest ribs in the heart. 3 more breath cycles here. Good, releasing the hands. We'll make our way onto hands and knees. If the knees are tender, you can roll up the sticky mat for support. And we'll meet here on hands and knees for traditional cat and cow. Palms are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. Curl through the toes as you drop the belly. Inhale, looking forward and up. Press through the tops of the feet as you exhale. Floor presses away, shoulder blades spread, chin tucks. Curl through the toes. Inhale, belly drops. Exhale, round and reverse. Take a few more of these, functional movement. Good, we'll pause in cow pose. Toes are curled under, belly surrenders to the earth, looking forward and up. Close down the eyes, return to the reciprocal breath. Inhale into the heart, the shape stays as it is. Exhale down into the hips. Stay for the inhale into the hips. And exhale, shift the focus into the heart. Reciprocal breathing, we're here for a minute. Complete your next full inhale and exhale, and we'll shift into cat pose. Pressing through the tops of the feet. Press the floor away from you, back body lifts, shoulder blades spread, chin gently tucks. Maintaining the shape, reciprocal breathing. Inhale into the heart. Exhale, shift the focus into the hips. Stay in the hips, breathe in. Shift the focus to the heart as you breathe out. Reciprocal breathing, we're here for a minute. Finish your next inhale and exhale, and we'll shift down to the floor, down onto the bellies. Once you arrive, Sphinx pose. Elbows are under shoulders, palms facing the mat. Legs at any width so that there's comfort in the spine. Bring the attention down to the hips, the front hip pocket, right and left. And notice if there's a tendency to lean more deeply from side to side. And if that is true in your body, recruit the muscles in that solar plexus region to shift the weight more evenly from side to side. Once you arrive, settle any doing in the legs and the hips and really just feel the root, the front of the pelvis, married to the earth. Think about the nature of heat softening the hips down into the mat. That internal heat softening the intensity around raw emotion. That's the purview of the second chakra, Svanistana. Walking the elbows a little closer to the hips, this will lift your heart a little higher. I'm choosing to interlace the fingers now. Hips stay soft on the mat. We'll press through the forearms and try to pull the root of the heart back in space, slightly tucking the chin. So for some bodies, that means that the breast tissue lifts off the mat. For some bodies, that means all the front ribs peel off the mat. Just think upper body cat back. And from this place, reciprocal breathing. Inhale into the heart. Exhale, shift the focus into the hips. Stay in the hips for the inhale. And shift the focus to the heart for your exhale. Reciprocal breathing. We're here for 1 minute. Finish your next inhale and exhale, and then we'll climb off the arms all the way down to the mat. Lay in stillness and observe. Bending in the left leg, you'll reach back and catch your foot with your left hand. That can be the tops of the toes or the ankles. So physically, we're getting a quad stretch here as we gently pull the heel towards the hip. We can magnify the physical activity by pressing the front hip pocket deeper into the earth. I like to make a pillow with my right arm. You also have the option of coming back up onto your forearms, adding a little more intensity in the back bend. Once you've settled into your shape, we return to reciprocal breathing. Inhale into the heart. Exhale into the hips. Inhale into the hips. And exhale into the heart. We're here for 1 minute. Finish your next inhale and exhale. Release the bind. We all walk up onto the forearms and we'll peel the left leg out to the side. Think 90 degrees from hip to knee and knee to ankle. I'm choosing to flex the foot. I want your knee happy, so some bodies respond to pointing through the toes. Elbows are underneath the shoulders. The weight certainly will shift a little more into the right hip pocket. Do your best to release the glutes so there's no tension in the back of the hips. And in the back body now, map out a cross section from your left hip to the right ribs, to the left side of the hips, and the right side of the heart. And within our reciprocal breathing, we're trying to create as much length between that cross section, rooting through the left hip and lifting and puffing out through the right side of the heart. We inhale in the heart, exhale into the hip, inhale into the hip, and exhale into the heart. We're here for 1 minute. Finish your next inhale and exhale. Climb out of your posture, off the arms, extend both legs. Then back up to hands and knees. Take a few cat-cows. And then meet me in a wide-legged child's pose or wide-legged dropping down onto the forearms. Whatever feels accessible to the body today. Finish your next breath in and out. Climb back up onto the forearms, hands and knees, and then back down onto the belly. We'll set up on the other side, starting with the quad stretch on the right. Bend the right knee, pull the heel towards the back of the hip. Option to make a pillow with the left arm or come up onto the forearm. And then within the shape, reciprocal breathing. Inhale, heart attentive. Exhale, hips. Inhale, hips. And exhale, heart. Reciprocal breathing. We're here for 1 minute. Finish your next inhale and your exhale, and then release the leg. We'll all come up onto the forearms, peeling the right knee out to the side. Think 90-degree angle between the hip and the knee and the ankle. I choose to flex the foot. And then bring the attention to the back body between the right hip and the left rib cage. So the right side of the hips and the left side of the heart. Trying to create as much space between these two areas. Returning to the reciprocal breath. Inhale to the left of the heart. Exhale to the right of the hips. Inhale the right of the hips. Exhale the left of the heart. Reciprocal breathing. We're here for a minute. Finish your next inhale and exhale, and then exit off the leg and the forearms. Press up to hands and knees. Take a few cat-cows if you'd like them. And then wide-legged child's pose, or wide-legged and down onto the forearms. Take a moment to observe. Making your way back to hands and knees, we'll flip onto our backs, have your strap and your block nearby, and we'll start with the strap, simple hamstring stretch. Let's start with the left leg today. So once the head and the shoulders are on the earth, option to use a strap around the base of the left foot. And use this to just plug the thigh bone down into the hip socket. So you feel that nice rooting from the heel of the foot down to where the thigh bone plugs into the left hip. Keep both hips on the ground and then butterfly open just the right leg. So the foot hits the middle of the mat and the knee opens like a bookend. Depending on the comfort of the knee joint will determine how close or how far away the foot is to the pelvis. Back of the heart is rooted to the earth. And then close down the eyes and return to the reciprocal breathing. Inhale into the heart. Exhale into the hip. Inhale into the hips. And exhale into the heart. We're here for a minute. Finish your next inhale and exhale. Then extend the right leg down the length of the sticky mat, option to flex the foot. And then peel your left leg across your body just enough to feel the outer hip pocket wake up. So it's less about the twist and more about sensation in the outer left hip and the glute. I choose to move the strap into the right hands so that the right shoulder can root down to the mat. Peel the left side arm open to counterweight, and then bring your attention into the back of your body, noticing the right shoulder, the right side ribs at the heart, are in relationship with the left side of the glute and the hip. This is the path that the breath takes. Inhale into the right side of the back body and the heart, down to the left side of the hip and the glute. Inhale into the left side of the hip and the glute, and exhale to the right side of the rib and the heart. 1 minute. Finish your next inhale and exhale, then exit the shape, drawing both knees towards the heart. And we'll circle the knees independently of each other, like propellers. Either direction is fine. And then we'll plant both feet on the mat. Strapping up the right foot now, extending the right heel towards the sky, stacking ankle over hip. A little bend in the knee if the hamstrings are tight. And just use the strap to plug the thigh bone down into the earth. Really feeling that right side body, that right side hip plugging and rooting into the mat. Left leg opens like a bookend, butterfly pose. And depending on the comfort in your knee and your hip will determine how close or how far away the foot needs to settle. Returning to the reciprocal breath, inhaling into the acreage of the heart, exhaling into the territory of the hips. Inhale in the territory of the hips, and exhale in the acreage of the heart. 1 minute. Finish your next inhale and exhale. And then lengthen the left leg down the length of the mat. And draw your right leg across the body just enough to wake up the outer hip and the glute. I like to shift the strap into the left hand and then peel the right arm open. Noticing that cross-bound territory between the left shoulder, the upper back and the ribs, and the right hip and the glute. Breathing into the left side of the heart, exhaling into the right side of the hip. Inhaling into the right side of the hip, and exhaling into the left side of the heart. 1 minute. Finish your next inhale and exhale, and then remove the strap and hug both knees into the heart. This time, cross at the ankles, let the knees spread as wide as possible. Take a few breaths here. And then slide the other ankle on top, knees are as wide as possible. Take a few breaths here. And then we'll surrender the feet to the mat, taking your block for supported bridge. Lift the hips to a comfortable height. And then slide the block, any height, height 1, height 2, height 3, whatever feels appropriate for today's body. And then legs take any shape. You can leave the feet flat on the mat. You can allow the knees to knock together. You can take butterfly legs, feet come to touch, knees open like bookends. And you can extend both legs long down the earth. So just make the choice that feels comfortable. Arms can be down by your sides. Or I like to take cactus arms, just spreading the shoulders a bit wider, bending at the elbows. Backs of the hands hit the earth. And we return to the reciprocal breath. Inhale into the heart. Exhale into the hips. Inhale into the hips. And exhale into the heart. 1 minute. Finish your next inhale and exhale. And we'll remove the prop, laying the hips back to the earth. Pause for a few heartbeats once you arrive. And then in your own time and in your own way, we'll return to a comfortable seat. Once you arrive, one hand comes to the body between the heart and the hips, the height of the solar plexus, and the opposite hand mirrors in the back body. Noticing this spaciousness between the buoyancy of the heart and the rootedness, the expansiveness of the hips. Coming back to the image of the orb of gold or the burning fire. Honoring the spaciousness here between the buoyancy in the heart and the rootedness in the hips. And we'll return to the reciprocal breath. 1 more minute. Inhale into the heart. Exhale into the hips. Inhale into the hips. And exhale into the heart. 1 minute. Take your next inhale and exhale. And then release the hands to a comfortable position. Drawing the full focus down into the hips, the seat of our raw emotions. Svanistana chakra. That spaciousness between the hips and the heart. And then the heart itself, its buoyancy, where all opposites collide, Anahata chakra. And for today, let us consider honoring the raw emotion, honoring the journey it takes into the heart, colliding and coalescing, honoring the raw emotion and the journey it takes to the heart to express itself fully and in balance. Hands come to touch at the heart as we seal in this practice with the sound of peace. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale to chant Om. Peace be with you in the company you keep. Blessed be, and namaste. Thank you for coming. Enjoy your full emotional experience. Much love, much love.